Imagine you would, in some way, for some reason, make a discovery, reach an epiphany, or come to a revelatory conclusion that would fundamentally change the way we think, we perceive the world, or that could even alter the course of history, all for the greater good of mankind. Maybe you find irrefutable proof for the existence or the non-existence of a god, or you find a way to cure all diseases, or you uncover a massive conspiracy. Whatever it is, you are certain that your findings will be a benefit to everyone. But the treacherous human nature almost inevitably dictates that an earth-shattering discovery like yours will cause some very influential, wealthy and powerful people that profit greatly from the ignorance of the masses to be vehemently against your findings to go public. And what would be their best move in that situation? Simply killing you could turn you into a martyr and even serve as a catalyst for your cause. But if they declared you insane, well, that would halt all the momentum and instantly revoke all your public credibility, as a discovery like yours would already sound insane to the ears of the unknowing. Once you're put inside a loony bin, no one would believe any word you say any more than they would buy into all the other Elvises, mad priests and nutjobs that are locked away with you.
I know this will sound nuts, but I was just in this weird little town where a huge alien plant killed all the adults, but not the kids.
Good for you. Why don't you go back there?
It has happened often enough throughout history. Oh, what's that, Mr. Galilei? The Earth is a sphere? Sure thing. Next thing you're gonna tell me is that it revolves around the sun and not the other way round, Mr. Enemy of the Church, huh? Now be a good boy and finish your porridge. Well, or think about all the poor souls that were declared insane by the CIA in the 50s and 60s when they tried to unveil the horrendous crimes the government committed during the MKUltra program to the public. No one believed a word they said and labeled them as crackpots, even though they were, as it turned out decades later, right all along. Well, something similar happens to the protagonist of Sanitarium, an isometric psychological horror adventure by Dreamforge Entertainment that came out in 1998 for Windows PCs. I will neither tell you the protagonist's name nor why he ended up in a sanatorium, because it is an amnesia story, a very convenient way for the writers to invoke an immediate sensation of "I want to know" in the player. Exposition feels almost always natural in these stories because we have exactly the same amount of knowledge as the protagonist. None at all. He doesn't even remember his name when he wakes up with his face wrapped in bandages in some desolated hallways of an eerie mental institute, and it's quite easy to relate to a character that unravels his own past together with the player. I want to try and recommend this game to you in this video as spoiler-free as possible, but before I begin to sing its praises, let me warn you about its many shortcomings, because in terms of gameplay, it is simply not a good game. The isometric 8-directional control scheme is imprecise as hell and can sometimes take you to the edge of insanity. How fitting. The puzzle design often seems very uninspired and is incohesive and in many cases lacks the proper signposting in order for the player to understand what he's even supposed to do. Overall, it's pretty subpar point-and-click adventure design, with even a few dead ends that you run into when you missed a seemingly unimportant item in an area before, and you will also be pestered by glitches and one or two show-stopping bugs when you happen to click the wrong objects at the wrong time. The game features also a few combat-oriented scenes that feel awkwardly bland and out of place, and overall, the visual presentation, well, let's just say it didn't age very well. There are games that came out at the same time that still feel aesthetically amazing, while Sanitarium could really need a facelift by now. Plus, the voice acting sometimes ventures deep into the kingdom of cringe.
Excuse me, what's your name?
My name is Sarah. I think it sounds nice. I ate my husband with carrots and rice.
But if you are able to look past all of that, you will find that the true strength of the game lies in its writing. Its most fascinating and intricate puzzle is the one that the player has to put together in his mind, exploring the depths of the protagonist's troubled past by visiting strange, uncanny, weird, and sometimes really freakish mementos that seem to have no coherent connection to each other at first glance, but that come together piece by piece over the course of the story to eventually result in a crescendo of beautifully satisfying aha moments. And there's one aspect in particular that always stood out for me in the way the writers crafted the plot, and that is their deep understanding of the enigmatic and metaphoric ways in which our brains store the emotionally most valuable memories in our lives. Because if you observe it closely, people often connect important memories with tokens. For example, a plush animal that is nothing but a toy in the eyes of everyone else may trigger an intense plethora of remembrance for you personally because of the emotional connection to moments associated with that token. And that is the approach Sanitarium takes in unraveling the forgotten past of the protagonist. It introduces the player to seemingly trivial everyday objects and makes him or her explore and experience its emotional significance firsthand by revisiting mementos locked deep inside the main character's unconscious until it becomes as clear and vivid for the player as it is for him. So if you are able to look past its many flaws as an ungracefully aged video game, Sanitarium may offer you an intriguing and mysterious scavenger hunt through a troubled man's mind who tries to defeat his demons and overcome his sorrows. If this is your kind of story, you might be in for an overlooked and charming psychological horror gem. So thanks for watching Monsters of the Week. Now it's your turn to choose where the path leads. Until then, remember, the truth is out there.